Y'all ready to be history?
Get started.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
To the Pro Audio Suite.
These guys are professional. They're motivated.
With Tech to the VO stars. George Whittam, founder of Source Elements. Robert Marshall, international audio engineer. Darren Robbo Robertson and Global Voice. Andrew Peters, thanks to Tribooth. Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Source Elements. George the Tech Whittam. And Robbo and AP's international demos. To find out more about us, check theproaudiosuite.com.
Line up, ladies!
Here we go.
And welcome to another Pro Audio Suite, thanks to Austrian Audio, making passion heard, and Tribooth. Don't forget the code TRIPAP200. That will get you $200 off your Tribooth. And big tip, they work. So if you're looking for a booth, get one.
And they work better than one you can make yourself too.
Absolutely, as I know from experience. Yeah. If you can be bothered making one. Now, today we're going to talk about plugins, but I thought we'd start with Robbo. What's your favourite plugin, Robbo?
You're going to start with me?
Yeah.
Well, look, it's not my favourite, but I'll talk about one that I came across. And just quickly, I started this little thing with myself on a Friday afternoon where I've set aside 2 hours in the afternoon and I have to go and download a plugin I've never used before. And it can be something I've heard about or something I've just discovered on the web. And I have to open up a session from something that I've done this week and I have to find a way to use it. So it's kind of been it's really opened a whole bunch of things for me, like creativity-wise and sort of learning about stuff. So look, this isn't a game-changing one, but this is one that might change the game for someone with a home studio, a voiceover artist. I discovered this thing, actually got recommended to me by Toby Ricketts. I'd never heard of it before, but George knew of it. It's called TDR Nova. And it's just a free, George, basically multiband compressor sort of thing.
Yeah, it's actually TDR, which stands for Tokyo Dawn Records.
Yes.
I guess it's a record label or a record music production company. I don't know where the name came from, but TDR Nova is, and they have a free version that has a 4-band, what I would call a dynamic EQ.
Yeah, with a high pass and low pass as well. So
it's really useful.
It's very cool. I just I've been playing around with it, and if you sort of a voiceover artist with a home studio who, I don't know, like we were talking about before, maybe there's some room resonances or a bit of de-essing or something like that you want to try to get rid of.
Too.
Yeah, it's it would actually be, from what I've found from playing with it, more than adequate to do the job, and it's free. So that's not a game changer, but for this show, I reckon that's a pretty good one because everyone's out there looking for free stuff.
So TDR Novas.
TDR Nova, as in
TDR
Nova, the radio station here in Sydney. Yeah. So
I will give a +1 on that too. I use that one for all the folks who do not have any good de-essers and other tools that are kind of weak in the toolbox. Mm-hmm. It works as a plugin in Audacity, works in Twisted Wave, works in everything. And especially on Twisted Wave, there's no de-essers that come with a Apple Audio Unit plugin suite. When you get an Apple computer, comes with a decent usable suite of plugins, but it's missing a few things, specifically a de-esser.
It's got a multiband.
It's got a multiband. I have a really tough time getting a really satisfactory result using the multiband. I just haven't mastered using it for de-essing and stuff.
Even though it's got a nice looking GUI for its multiband.
Yeah, it ain't bad considering it's free and it comes on every Mac.
Well, it might sound like shit, but at least it looks good.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's more important. Right.
But TDR does a surprisingly nice job. It's not an easy plugin. Some plugins that you pay a lot of money for, they're expensive because they're highly tuned and specific. And made to be easy as humanly possible.
That's true.
Right? So some plugins that are free, they do it for free because either one, they're super simplistic, or two, they're powerful, but they have a big learning curve, right? And TDR is one of those.
One thing I did miss, and maybe I don't know whether I missed it or whether it's just not there, but a solo on each of the bands as you're going through would be nice.
I don't believe it has. Now, they have a pro version of the plugin. That's how they monetize.
Okay, there you go.
So it's got more bands, more functions, and it may have that.
That may have that.
If you like it that much, it might be worth getting the
I've got enough EQs.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah,
Me too.
Nice. Yeah. Very good, though. There you go. That's my tip. Robert, you got one?
Yeah, I was thinking, like, what plugin am I going to say? And one of the thoughts that went through my head was, number one, I have a lot of plugins, and I keep on using for the last 30 years. pretty much a lot of the same plugins. And I was thinking, like, there's all these new plugins, but really, whatever you're doing, mixing music or, whatnot, you basically need 3 types of plugins to do most everything you need. You need a good EQ, a good compressor, a delay, and a reverb. And you can get most everything you need to get done with those things. And then I was thinking, what's that one plugin that I use a lot and that's really useful? And I've said it before, and I use the crap out of Waves C4. Mm-hmm. It's a multiband compressor. I use it like an EQ. It can expand and compress. So it's a multiband processor, but I will find myself often compressing the very high end as a de-esser, and I'll take the low end and I'll expand it to make someone sound more chesty and big. And then in the middle, you compress it, and that gets it out of the way of like a lot of this stuff. And it's just 2 things in one. And I would agree that if you know your way around a multiband processor, a multiband dynamics processor, whatever you want to call it, a multiband compressor or a dynamic EQ, the lines between these devices are very blurred in a sense. You can get a lot done with one plugin if you have a multiband device like that that's dynamics and deals with the frequencies. So I've been using for years the crap out of Wave C4, but I'd also agree that there's many. If to go way, way, way back in time, if you remember, actually Antares, the people that make Autotune, they used to have a plugin called MDT, which was a multi.
Wow, yeah, you are going back.
I don't know if you remember that one. Way, way back in the day. I mean, back in like the Sound Designer 2 days. But that was one of the first, and I used to use that a lot for mastering. So yeah, multiband dynamic processors, they're super useful, and one device can do 3 things at once if you know your way around it.
The other nice one is sort of if you can side chain them too. So side chain your voiceover to the music bed or whatever, and sort of carve a nice little hole in there too underneath your voiceover in the mix.
So Waves C6 lets you sidechain a particular band. Like one of the bands can be sidechained.
You would use that middle frequency range that you were talking about in that case for your mix.
Exactly. Yep.
You always love it when the client, picks a music track with is it a tenor saxophone that's in that voiceover range or whatever, that's
right in the same,
and you're sort of like, fuck, everything, all these frequencies all in the same fucking place.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus.
And it's mixed smack dab in the middle. It's not even like far out left and right.
Yeah, it's not even on the sides. Yeah, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
You arsehole. Is there a better track, do you reckon?
Maybe that's a good AI plugin that they should make, is just like D-Sax.
D-Sax.
Or like D-Kenny G.
Yeah, D-Kenny.
Get rid of it.
It's the D-Kenny plugin.
Yeah. Kenny G Banger.
Get rid of the
Kenny G Banger. That's what my wife wears on a Saturday night.
Yeah, lucky you.
That's why you have so many kids. Yeah. You're using a multiband or like that's one you found, and George?
Well, TDR, as I said, it's great. And the one that I haven't used nearly as extensively as I maybe should, but I have recommended and set it up for a few folks. There's a lesser known company in a similar vein to iZotope called Acon, A-C-O-N. They've been around. They stood the test of time. And, their plugins are quite nice, and they're doing their particular deal right now. So it's not a bad time to buy plugins. It says summer sale now, up to 70% off on their website. The one that I've been enjoying and finding easy to use, not overly expensive, and very effective is their Extract Dialog. It's a weird name. It doesn't sound like it'd be a good noise reduction tool, but that's what it does. Mm-hmm. It's really designed to take the dialogue, the voice, and pull it out of the crud. And so it's a noise reduction tool. But I also found accidentally, whether this is intended or not, but based on the description of the plugin, it clearly is. It says, the revolutionary plugin that magically separates your dialogue from various types of background noise, including wind, rustle, traffic, hums, clicks, and pops. So it has this amazing ability to do a lot of different jobs, including declicking. So in one plugin, you're doing a lot of jobs, which can simplify your setup.
I would point out that it's more of a voice extractor than a denoiser. And I think that's the case with a lot of these new denoise plugins, where really they're designed to separate the signal from what it considers noise. But for example, it wouldn't be useful if you had noisy music and you wanted to take the noise out of the music, because that thing is very specific about taking noise out of voice signal. So a lot of these AI things are not broad tools. They're very, very specific as to what they do.
That's right.
This one deals with voice. Same thing with Waves Clarity.
It doesn't just deal with voice, it deals with spoken
voice, right?
dialogue.
Exactly. Yeah, dialogue.
Not
more than singing, exactly. And I kind of realized this weekend. I was doing some denoising for someone's audiobook, and I was just noticing how the AI noise reduction for the voice was good, but it wasn't as good as going back to the old, in this case, I just went back to Z noise and take that fingerprint, and it was able to a little bit more destructively in imparting a sound, but it could get in and rip the noise out compared to just trying to eliminate the noise in between passages and stuff. I was like, wow, it was interesting because sometimes you have new tools and then you write off all your old tools and you don't think about those old tools. But sometimes those old tools, they still do what they did and they're good.
That's what I was going to say the same thing, where, sometimes it's worth going back and finding some really old plugins that you used to love and then they've been put aside, and then you play with them again and go, wow.
Yeah, so Clarity, exactly what I'm talking about. Like X Noise is the one I used, which is old. 20, and maybe not 20, but at least 15 years old. Clarity is in the last 3 years. And Clarity is amazing. But like I said, it didn't really actually pull out as much noise in the actual delivery of the voice.
Do you know what I'm fast learning? Because I don't use a lot of noise reduction day to day, but the more I'm using it, the more I'm finding that I don't think there's one, you might have one go-to EQ or one go-to compressor or something like that. I don't think there is a one go-to noise reduction for stuff. No. I find that they all have their own idiosyncrasies and all that sort of stuff. And you've really got to sort of go, yeah, okay, that's not bad, but I wonder if I can do better and sort of pull down whatever you've got in your library and try them all before before you settle on one.
And even to the point that I use, going back to it, I've often used the C4 as a noise reduction plugin because I'll use it as an expander. Right. And then you can expand out, and that way you're not killing everything all at once. Yep. I know that there's Brush Free, what's it called?
Oh, yeah, Brush Free.
An example of Right, that's a noise reduction that uses multiband. This one,
or Burton
Brush Free has many more bands.
That's another one, Burton denoiser. I will use Burton in sequence with a standard expander. I'll even use Clarity VX with an expander after it to catch little things that
I will cascade these. I will
miss.
Yeah, I'll usually multiband expand and then go into something that's more destructive to get the rest of it, but try to make, because if you're, with many plugins, if you try to use them on their extremes, the most noise reduction, it's going to start showing its artifacts more. But if each one is used a little bit, you don't pick up on the artifacts.
Well, I was saying before we started recording today, I've picked up a podcast for a couple of ladies in Canada that I'm doing for them, and they're sort of, they're basically just, they haven't even got studios. They're just recording in spare bedrooms and stuff. And I've worked with them and got them set up as best I can. But my noise reduction chain for them is that I use Clarity on both of them. But then rather than having to overwork it on the master bus, because I have not a master bus, sorry, a dialogue bus, I'm just using the NS1, at like 2 or 3.
Which the NS1's an expander.
Exactly. That's just a clean up version. And that just cleans up whatever's left without overworking Clarity. And it sounds great.
I'll tell you, anybody with an S1, the scaling of the control is really kind of whacked out. It goes from 0 to 100. Mm-hmm. Have you ever used it above 10?
No, I don't think so. No,
like 10%.
Like shit.
10%.
Yeah,
10% is
most of these things, a little goes a long way. Yeah. I would say one thing I've noticed in general in the last 2-3 years, since a lot of these AI noise reduction things have come out, people think that now noise is not an issue. that AI can just take care of it. And it's not true. It is not harmless. And even though they are less invasive than, like old noise, people are so much more willing to go, oh, just, like running through some AI and it'll just take out the noise. It will make it sound fake and slightly weird in this way that you can't put your finger on it, but it's not.
Especially the free one from Adobe, the podcast one. They have a noise reduction tool in there that's obviously AI, and it does some extremely bizarre things. I mean, it literally takes your voice, makes a model, and replaces it with the model.
Oh, wow.
So you end up with something that sounds like you, but just a little off to the left.
Soulless. That's a long way around reinventing the wheel, isn't it?
But you also wonder where your voice is going.
Yeah, well, in doing so, it's getting rid of all the noise. Like it does it. It's supernatural capability.
Because it's remaking it.
But it's just like, dude, to what end? And they think it's the fix for audio. I heard the guy speak at Podfest. He was there demonstrating it. And I'm listening to the demonstration videos and I'm watching his presentation and I'm listening to his clips and going, this is not great. No. You guys think it's great because you built it. But I'm listening to the audio and I'm going, it ain't great. It is not the same as properly recorded.
And here's my fear. All of a sudden, just like if you don't auto-tune your vocals, they don't sound professional somehow. Like, in certain music contexts, like everything is so auto-tuned out the other end that it sounds terrible, but for the right audience, it's like, that's the sound of professional. And I think that some of this like ultra scrubbed clean AI noise reduced, it's just fake sounding. It imparts the sound that it's like you can't put your finger on it as easily as like hear that swishy.
This is pop music in a nutshell. I will say though, at the same time, there's a pushback against all that among young people, I've found. And my daughter particularly. Now my daughter and your daughter too, Robert, have great music ears. So they hear these things. But, if it's overly fucked with, she's like, she doesn't get into it that much. I mean, it depends on the genre. Some of it is just purely processed, but she still loves
classic music. Yeah,
traditionally produced. I wouldn't call it folk music, but I would say traditionally produced music where it's people playing instruments. And so I think kids are going to honestly. There's going to be a little bit of a pushback. Like, how far are we going to go with everything being fake?
I hope so. Because like the latest round of AI now is not just, how in music you double your vocals and you layer them. And the trick of a really good performer is they're able to sing the exact same thing.
Ozzy Osbourne.
So closely together, that you can barely tell that it's been doubled and it gives it that thicker sound. But unless you're a producer and a music person, you don't really go, that's doubled. You just think that sounds thick.
Ozzy is the king of that.
Yes. But now there's just like Waves has one and it does it. But again, it's like every time you pass all this stuff through the AI machine, it's like
something is
makes
lost.
It plasticky fake.
Something is lost. Yeah.
If you want to hear some amazing harmonies, Google a video. It's John Farnham, who's like a legendary Australian vocalist. We call him the Voice here. That's basically what we call him. And he's two of his backing singers who are all equally amazingly talented, but it's Vanetta Fields and Lindsay Field. And they do an a cappella version, although there's some piano that comes in later on, but basically an a cappella version of Amazing Grace. And it's back in the late 80s, early 90s, AP, would it have been?
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere like that. So there's no auto-tune, and they are just fucking impeccable. It is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So, do you believe in sound after processing?
I believe less is more sometimes.
Yeah, I think so too. Look, less is more, and especially with your noise reduction.
I don't think Robbo got
noise
that
reduction. Noise reduction wasn't invented to get rid of barking dogs and noisy kids. It's invented to get rid of sound on set and all that sort of shit, like just camera noise and stuff. So don't try and use it as a magic marker.
If you're
something.
aware of a problem, fix it, and don't assume that it can be
fixed,
just magic wanded away. What is it, this one? Yeah.
Just have it go like this. Gone.
Poof.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. Is it over?
The Pro Audio Suite, with thanks to TriBooth and Austrian Audio. Recorded using Source Connect. Edited by Andrew Peters and mixed by Robbo. Got your own audio issues? Just ask Robbo.com. With tech support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and join in the conversation on our Facebook group. To leave a comment, suggest a topic, or just say g'day, drop us a note at our website, proaudiosuite.com.